दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲನೆ
Mumbai are back to the comforts of being home. They have lost 2-2, so they need to get off the mark. Will they get things going, or will the local boy, Rahane, and his Knights raid the fortress at Wankhede? We'll find out. Hello and welcome to Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. With me, my two troopers in all white, looking nice and bright, and Michael with the little blush on his face because he's just played paddle for 4 hours today. You look really out there, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm a bit red in the face. I've had to do a bit of running for Gareth Kapoor. How was his legs?
Is he a bit lazy?
Well, he didn't quite get around the court as much as I thought he may. He was very good in the first set, very good in the first set, and then we both our kind of age took the better of us. When you're playing against a 24-year-old, it's quite tricky. He was a bit better than us.
Well, this 24-year-old has gotten to Michael. I see him playing more often with him. But at Cricbuzz, besides food, cricket, there's a lot of paddle discussion as well, and a lot of paddle tips as well, which we will get tomorrow, Lisa. But before we get to that, we have to talk about this big contest today. You know, MI is just a team that is so consistent with the way they start. That yes. I don't think the fans panic anymore. They know that, okay, you know, they're just warming up. That's how they start. But why is this team like this? I don't get it.
I don't know. 2012 was the last time that they won their first game? And I would imagine they have tried every pre-season or pre-camp. Let's do something different. Let's try this. Let's go do team bonding. Let's train a lot. Let's play game scenarios. Let's go to a different state. I don't know. They would have tried everything and nothing seems to work. But you're right. No one panics because they're used to it. So they come home now. Here's an opportunity to start their campaign.
Well, they've come home. They've won the toss and they have decided to bowl first. Michael, Lisa was talking about how they've tried everything when it comes to team bonding. But it just seems like even the post-match, Hardik seemed very relaxed. He said that, yes, we need to get going, but he seemed really relaxed that they lost the second game.
Yeah, they don't seem to panic. And the reason why is that they've got so much experience. But, you know, you kind of look at the last few years and that aura that they used to have. You know, the kind of fortress of the Wankhede, I don't think really teams fear it anymore. They know that they're up against real quality, but... You know, you go back 6 or 7 years, I think Mumbai were the team that everyone went, oh no, we've got to play Mumbai. I don't think those days are there any longer. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get beat or they can't produce a magnificent performance because they've got world-class players, but I don't think teams fear them anymore. I think they actually enjoy the fact that they're coming to a stadium, it's a great atmosphere, it's always a good pitch. You know, you're in for a good contest, and if you play good cricket here, you can beat the Mumbai Indians. I guess chasing is... the common trend at night. So they've started well, they've won the toss, but they've just got to find a rhythm of consistency. It amazes me, and it's not just been actually the last game. You know, it wasn't their consistency in terms of playing; it was their consistency in terms of the batting lineup.
Yes.
You know, in the second innings, they didn't throw a punch, and Hardik came too deep. So it's not just the personnel; some of their thinking is not been quite right over the course of the last few years. To me, they have to win tonight. They have to get their campaign off to a win. Rajasthan won last night, so they're 1 from 3. You won't want to be 0 from 3, so they have to win tonight.
Well, it's interesting you say that teams don't really fear them anymore. 6 years ago, there are these 4 big teams that other teams would fear playing. But we see that the stock for MI has been diminishing, Lisa, because 2015 to 2024 titles. And after that, well, it's gone dry for them.
Yeah, and you look at the makeup of their squad from 2022, I think was the mega auction, and they lost their core group. They lost the Pandya brothers, Pollard's getting older, and they tried to regenerate. And even then they haven't been able to, so they've brought back Hardik, Rohit's getting on. So there's a lot of that core for a long period of time that brought them so much success. They're moving on. And I look now down at their squad, and out of the 24, 8 players are playing their first IPL. That's
very-
That's a big group of players, regardless of age, to come to India. And a lot of them, now you're starting to see a lot of South African players are coming from the SA20. And they're mature athletes, but coming to India for IPL is another beast because this is on steroids. So the pressure, we spoke last night about the pressure keeps building, and there's, you start getting different calls from different owners, sponsors, everyone. So they're still rebuilding, I think. Haven't quite kind of settled on that next core group that are going to be consistent and play their cricket.
But, you say there are 8 new players, but there's also a mix of quite a few senior players as well. So do you think it's just the unit not clicking together? Because we've seen youngsters do well, like a Tilak Verma and other youngsters. And they've got the senior likes of Rohit, no Bumrah, hopefully he comes back soon, but a Hardik, Surya. So do you think it's just not clicking like a unit together?
I think that when I look at the sides that I've been successful in, you've got a wonderful mix of experience and youth, but the experience is scoring runs, taking wickets, doing the job there and helping and guiding along the way, because your youngsters will give you sporadic performances throughout, which is what they're supposed to. They can't come and dominate. I don't think so. I know the youngsters want to come and dominate, but I certainly think they need a little bit more from their senior players to ensure that this next crop of players understand and then grow into their shoes a little bit more and the IPL experience, and then start producing consistent performances.
Well, you've said it, Lisa, that the senior players need to get going. Michael, do you think it's time that we start questioning Rohit's numbers, because we know how prolific he is, we know how devastating he can be up at the top, but just look at these numbers. Since 2020, just one 350-plus score. And when you're opening, you can't have that 50s and 100s column, which has so many zeros there.
Yeah, and you look at those years, he's only passed 58 times. He's got 1 century. I see, and I always scratch my head with Rohit Sharma in Mumbai. I always think, if he's good enough to be the Indian captain, how is he not captain in Mumbai? I can always say that because I don't get it. He's a wonderful captain for India. He's done a great job, and you only have to look at what's happened in the last couple of years with the whiteboard team. Now, if he's deemed the best person to captain the national side, how can he not be the best person to captain the franchise team? He's going to play the whole season. I'm probably stirring up another pot from last year, but you look at his numbers, and the reason why I say that is those numbers on the screen. If you put those numbers back on, you got to remember we're judging Rohit just as a batter now, because he's not the captain. Now, I think you can get away with average numbers, and they're average numbers. If your name's not Rohit Sharma, you're probably losing your place in the side at some stage with those numbers. They're not good enough for a player like Rohit Sharma. But if he's the captain as well, and he's adding his knowledge of being leader, the culture creator that he is, tactician that he is, and I see it on a regular basis with India, and I've seen it with Mumbai in the past. I cannot cope with those numbers. But when you're just the batter now, that's how we have to judge Rohit Sharma, because he isn't the captain. He needs runs.
Yes.
I'm not saying that they'll get rid of him, and they're certainly not going to drop him. But it becomes a problem when you're star man and you're kind of most senior batter at the top of the order, that you're kind of looking at in the dressing room going, come on, Ro. Come on, get us off to a start. Get your flow back and get your rhythm back, get your mojo back. Because for Mumbai to go and put right what they've not done right in the first 2 games, it does require that senior core to produce. And then around that, if your senior core, Trent Boults and Suryakumar and obviously Rohit, if they produce their normal decency and their consistency, the youngsters can just enjoy the game. You just say to the young players, look, just get out there and enjoy it. When you're saying to the youngsters at the minute, well, you're going to have to produce a bit of magic for us, it's quite hard. So I do think the Rohit numbers are a real problem for the side, and he has to try and get that right.
Well, Lisa, the pressure is not only on the youngsters, like Michael's saying, the pressure is on fans who love Rohit Sharma, because it's so frustrating. He looks so beautiful. He just still looks like someone who's got those extra 10 seconds, so fluid, and then, he gets out so easily. What do you think is going wrong with him?
Yeah, if you put the numbers back up, we've got to remember, firstly, there was COVID. So there was a lot of bio bubbles, there was a lot of travel, there was a lot of time away from home. Then you start to realise that there's been an ICC event every year, and there's an expectation on India to be in the final, to win the trophy. So as a skipper of the white ball side, there's a lot of energy being put into that as well. So is he coming tired and exhausted almost at the start of an IPL? And is his preparation as good as it was when he first played IPL? I would say he's trying to train smarter. That's what you do when you get older. But as you're balancing everything out and you look at, what's happened during those years, he might be just a bit exhausted, and so he's not preparing as well as he should, and feet aren't moving as nicely as they once did. So he's got to find a way to kind of recapture that, and that might mean digging a little bit deeper.
You're actually brilliant point, Lisa, in terms of maybe being tired, and that's just a mental drain. And I will say about Rohit Sharma that because he's won everything, he's won the IPL 5 times, he's been there and done it. You look at him in Test match cricket. He doesn't seem to have the spark in Test match cricket like he has in the white ball game. When he's captain in India in white ball cricket, if you look at him in the last 2 years, he's had that spark. And sometimes in your career, because he's done everything, you get to a stage where, well, what else is there to do? It's just the nature of being a sports person that you've been playing for, 20 years almost, Rohit Sharma. He's won World Cups. He's won Test series in the past. And now he's probably playing all these formats and he's playing pretty much every day of the year. And not every day can you be at your best. You can't be. It's just near on impossible. Particularly at the latter stage of your career, you have to pick and choose sometimes what your real focus is. And I think if you sat Rohit down in a corner and said, what is your real focus at the minute? He'd have said, well, to try and win the World Cup in India 2 years ago, got to the final, win the T20 World Cup, tick, win the Champions Trophy, tick. What's the next thing really on the tip of Rohit Sharma's kind of thought process? I reckon it's the T20 World Cup in a year's time here in India.
Yeah. Well, all I'd want to tell all Rohit fans, all MI fans and all Indian fans that the last time we had this big discussion about Rohit and his form during the Champions Trophy, he went and got that 100 against England. So maybe...
So you're organising the script here.
So maybe. I wish I could organise the script.
We're nice like that, though. We like to see Rohit score a few runs.
I think we all do,
Yeah, we all do. We hope that happens. That will be later in the day because KKR will be batting first. Let's have a look at their playing 11, see if they have any changes there. Well, Sunil Narine comes in. Lisa, that was pretty much expected, but... where is...
No Moeen.
No Moeen.
Well, it was a like for like, wasn't it? And I guess from all reports, playing on red soil, extra pace, extra bounce, Spencer Johnson, they want to kind of give him maybe a longer run at it. That would be the other alternative to try and go Moeen. So maybe they feel like there's something in it for the fast bowlers. So he gets the nod instead of Moeen.
We'll just look at if the impact list and if he's there in that impact list or not. But he doesn't make it.
He's having a day off, is Moeen. I guess it's because, there's Tilak Varma, obviously a left-hander. You look at Rohit Sharma, Suryakumar, Yadav, real quality players of off-spin. So I think KK, as much as Moeen did a really good job in the last game against Rajasthan, what did he get? 2 for 23 off his 4. Didn't get so many runs, but he bowled beautifully. But he was bowling to left-handers, and I guess probably at the Wankhede, there's a few right-handers that wouldn't mind facing an off-spinner that's just going one way. So it's probably a smart move by KKR tonight to just leave him out.
All right, let's have a look at KKR's 11 and see if they have any changes at all in their playing 11. Mumbai is playing 11 and see if they have any changes. Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, Michael.
Oh, here he is. He's back.
Ooh, your little boy's back.
Great.
Look at that smile on Michael's face. But Will Jacks comes back as well.
So Mujib's out. So Mujib's the overseas is out for Will Jacks. So he'll go at the top of the order.
So Rohit.
Where's Rohit?
Rohit will be the impact.
Yeah.
So he's got the perfect role. He's not going to field.
He was the impact in the last game as well, yes.
Yeah, nice job. Yeah, you can understand a few little changes, and I'm pleased to see Will Jacks in because and I've just mentioned off spin, but I think the all-round quality that Will Jacks can bring with his batting, with his fielding, a little bit of off spin at the right time, and there's that impact list where Rohit Sharma will sit in that nice comfy chair for a couple of hours and then don the pads and try and whack it to all parts.
But I see that smile back on Michael's face because Vignesh is back in as well. So good to see him back.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he bowled beautifully in the first game in Chennai, and it's almost as if they protected him in Ahmedabad. But you know, he bowled so well. You're thinking, oh, you get 3 for 3 big wickets. Surely you get the next game. You know, but he didn't, and now he has to bowl at the Wankhede. But you know, at the Wankhede, you need to be able to spin it either way, and he can do that. I'll be intrigued to see how he copes with it because he's had a lot of attention. I think I was reading that his Instagram following within 24 hours went from 24,000 to 300,000.
Well, when Michael Vaughan talks about him constantly on Cricbuzz Live, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't know what he's at now. I'm sure it's at many, many more than
like,
300,000.
Sam Constas in Australia during the Test match, same thing.
So it's that pressure of now people know who he is, and you know, that expectation that we think he's a good young bowler. Can he deliver on a tough pitch as well? So I'm intrigued to see how he gets on.
Well, Lisa, there's someone who has that pressure on him too. He's going to be batting first, and that's Venkatesh Iyer, because he really needs to get going. 2 matches, 6 runs, but he loves coming to Mumbai and playing. He got that 70 last year, the 100 the year before that. So it's almost like he's coming back into his fortress because he loves coming to play here.
Yeah, average of 72 and a strike rate of 165 against Mumbai. Numbers slightly down in Wankhede, but yeah, he knows his place, he knows the ground, he knows the conditions. He's had a lot of success. And there are certain grounds that you walk into and you go, yep, I've got this place sorted. I know exactly. And I've got wonderful memories. So again, probably, you know, that mental visualisation. He's been there, done that, been successful against this side. So, yeah, everything's stacking up for him to produce a good innings.
You know, but you've spoken about this time and again, is when you have that price tag on your head, the pressure just comes on, even if you don't want to take that pressure. Michael, do you think that's what is also playing on his head?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think that, you know, this era of the game, they seem to cope with the numbers. You know, it's just the norm. You know, it's the norm that they're making a lot of money. That's just part and parcel of being an Indian cricketer. I look at Nitish Rana last night, the way that he played, and I just wonder whether Venkatesh was watching last night thinking, yeah, that's the way that I can play. Because he's a similar kind of player. He's, you know, when he's in that flow of batting, you know, he's very, very difficult to stop. And it is always nice when you arrive back at a venue and you've had success there in the past and against a team. You know, the team in blue, he's played against them many times. The average is fantastic. And you do just feel a sense of relaxation. Not that you can't have to focus and concentrate as hard as you do on an everyday basis, but you do feel good about yourself when you go to a venue. You go, yeah, look around, and the noise, the dressing room, the walk down, the pitch suits his style of play. So, yeah, it could be his night. It really could. He's a good player.
Well, they'll want him to get going also KKR's sake, because at middle order, they need that kind of solidity to come from Venkatesh Iyer. Yeah,
they don't want to just rely heavily on the top and Quinny and Sunil to get them off to a flyer, which they'll want that, but they need the middle order.
Yes.
You know, if you're going to win tournaments and if you're going to go deep into this competition, you need your top 4 to 5 players scoring the bulk of the runs. KKR was slightly different last year, whereas that they had like 6 bowlers. That's all they really used, and all of them got over 10 wickets. But I think for them to keep adapting and then adapting to the game, their batters need to come to the party as well.
Well, the batters need to come to their party, but Venkatesh Iyer will not want to come very early to the party because he'd want the openers to give them that start that KKR want. But the openers are going to face the jolt of the Boult, because when there's Trent Boult, we know what Trent Boult does in that power play. We know what he does in that opening over. And Trent Boult in Mumbai, it's windy, it's overcast today, so it's going to move around a little more, Michael, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the way you've said it's overcast. If you want to see overcast, you want to come to Headingley. That's overcast. This isn't overcast. Oh, he's a tremendous bowler, isn't he? I think he's a really good signing. You know, I can't fathom why Rajasthan would want to let him go, but they have, and he's back at Mumbai. He targets the stumps, you know, to a right-hander. He keeps it very simple. He charges in and generally just tries to whip it back into a right-hander. He's got a great record against Quinny de Kock. He's had him on a number of occasions, so that's a really good matchup for Mumbai tonight. Quinny de Kock just fascinates me as a player. He just I'm in the same hotel of the KKR team, and all of them are saying they can't believe how fit he is. You know, they thought that once he gave up South Africa, that he may have been one of those kind of characters that just lets himself go a little bit. But they say he's so fit, hitting the ball as well as he ever has, and you know, he's back playing against his old team. So I think that's a great combination at the start. But I think Trent Boult's up there in the last 15 years. If you said, you know, who would you have to set the tone in a white ball game? You know, Mitchell Stark's probably up there, Bummer obviously, but I think Trent Boult is right in that conversation to be. And if you said Trent Boult, I'd say yeah, no problem. You'd certainly make a good case for Trent Boult being that first bowler in white ball cricket. Is an absolute gun.
Well, we are looking forward to that matchup, Lisa. Trent Boult last year, I think 16 wickets, of which 12 were in the power play, and of which 7 were in the first over.
It's crazy, isn't it? But it goes down to Trent knowing exactly what his asset is. His asset is to swing the ball. The white ball only swings for how long? A couple of overs. So you've got to get it right. So his preparation before he goes out there and bowls that first delivery is so important, because he can't give a warm-up delivery, because it could be smacked straight into the signboards, the ball gets, you know, damaged, all of a sudden, there you go, the ball stops swinging. Like, so I think his understanding of, I've got a very small window, how do I maximise it? And how do I make sure that when I'm at the top of my mark, I can hit exactly that spot. You see younger players, and you hear it. You know, us commentators will say, "Oh, that was a bit of a warm-up delivery." Like, can't afford to do that.
No, there's a real skill in that.
Yeah.
You know, being switched on from ball one, and you know, I always say, why wouldn't you be? You know, as a bowler, and your job is to, you know, bowl that first ball. So make sure you're loose. You get out there early. If you have to bowl a few. You know, and bowl a few to mid-on and mid-off just to see, because you have to try and work out if the ball's swinging or not. You know, so you bowl a couple to mid-on and mid-off in the air just to see if all right, it's shaping, so he knows exactly where to kind of position that first delivery. But more often than not, he's on the money.
But Lisa, you know, you spoke about he knows his skill set and he uses that to his advantage. We know with Mumbai, the ball does swing around initially, but what happens when the ball doesn't swing for Trent Boult? We know he likes the swinging conditions, but has he adapted and tried something different when the ball doesn't swing?
Yeah, I mean, he may go into his cutters, he may come around the wicket to change the angle. So you're starting to see players adapt, and I probably know Mitch Stark a little bit more. So as soon as he comes around, he knows that the ball isn't swinging, and he's brought the wobble seam in. So these players are smart and clever. They've watched enough cricket. They've played enough cricket to go, how am I going to be effective? And Trent now, you know, is sporadically playing international cricket. Like, his forte is in T20 franchise. So he's got to ensure that his stocks are still high. Otherwise, everything dries up for him. So, you know, he's still preparing, still fit, still training hard. And making sure that when he gets that opportunity, he has the biggest impact.
But Michael, is Quinny prepared for him, though? We know that he's preparing very well. That matchup you spoke about, he's gotten him 6 times in T20Is. So Boult does like to bowl to Quinny de Kock. He's coming off the 97, so he has...
He played great, didn't he? In that chase, and it was such an easy chase because of Quinny de Kock, but he doesn't want to be seeing those numbers before he goes out of bat. He wants to avoid the data machine to tell him that he's got a problem against Trent Boult. Well, I think Quinton de Kock's one of those players that I always watch him in the first 10 balls, he looks vulnerable. He just is that kind of player. Adam Gilchrist was similar. But if they get over 10 balls and they get used to the conditions and they get used to what's happening within the ball through the air, he's so dangerous. I mean, he can play all the bowlers, onside, offside, front foot, back foot. He's got the awareness of the field that gets set. And he's been as good as many, hasn't he, over the years in terms of attacking that power play. But what I really admire about Quinton de Kock, once he's out of the power play, he's a really skillful player. You know, he's still got the boundary options, but he does work it into those pockets for twos on a regular basis. And I think I've never really looked at Quinny and thought, oh, he's really fit, but he clearly is. I mean, to be able to keep wicket and open the batting. You know, many times he's kept in the first innings and runs out and obviously open the batting in the second innings. He's clearly very, very fit, but his awareness of the game, and I guess in cricket you sometimes, and I had, by the way, lots in my team that I wouldn't want to put in a quiz team. You know, I think Quinny's one of those people that you wouldn't want him in your quiz team, but I think that helps. I do think Jack Callis is another. Jack Callis would
Really?
say, yeah. And I honestly think in cricket, I see a lot of players who are really, really smart, really clever. And I think they overthink life.
Yeah.
And I think it actually helps cricket that you don't have too much going on upstairs.
Well, it's
I generally believe that. I'm not saying you're picking 11 of people that didn't get any GCSEs or A-levels, but I do think it helps in cricket.
Don't
that you-
overthink it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kartik actually asked him, I think, after the 97 in the post-match and said, you know, what has been the difficulty since retiring from international? He goes, I haven't had any difficult life. What's the difficulty?
Don't think about it. It's great.
So it kind of backs up your... He's not an overthinker. Doesn't he do a lot of fishing? And
Yeah, walks his dog.
Yeah, so he's a pretty chilled out guy. What I liked about that innings was sometimes he's been a bit reckless because he wants to attack in the power play, whereas that innings was, okay, this pitch isn't I can just stand and deliver. I've got to think how I'm scoring my runs, and he still made it look easy.
Yeah, he played that pull shot off Jofra Archer. I mean, it went miles.
Yeah.
And actually, Moen this week said that Jofra was bowling seriously quick. He said he was at the non-strikers and he went, oh my word, he said, I wouldn't have been playing that shot. He went 100 metres into the stands, but he's a great player.
You know, like you said, he said he wasn't thinking too much about, not overthinking things. Clearly, he shouldn't be overthinking Trent Boult or shouldn't be worried about. He just go about doing his own thing.
He'll have forgotten.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know that's happened. He's like, who's Trent Boult?
No, but he's coming back to his home ground, if we can say, because he's played for MI for so many years. So he knows that those square boundaries are short. He likes to attack those square boundaries, and it's just comfort for him because he's played so much on this ground.
Yeah, again.
The red soil also, Lisa, something that helps someone like a Quinn de Kock?
Well, grew up South Africa, ball bounces a little bit more, good on the short delivery. So if the bowlers err and get a bit too excited because the ball's kind of skipping through nicely, then he's got all of the skill set to be able to damage that. I think he's the type of player, if he just gives himself a couple of balls, just have a look.
Yeah, because earlier when you mentioned the swing, and someone like Trent Boult will certainly get the ball up there, you know, and you know that Quinn will probably take on the big drive, and sometimes you need a little bit of fortune early. You take on the big drive and the edge hopefully goes, for his sake, into the gap, but so often at the Wankhede you see early wickets fall because players find it just quite difficult to get used to the first 4 or 5 balls because there's a bit of extra bounce and it can catch you out a little bit. So of all the venues, and it's a kind of a bit of an old school approach, I'd say to a player, if you're going to do anything at the Wankhede, give yourself 1 or 2 extra balls to get used to the bounce because you'll catch up. Because once you're in, well, it's impossible to stop a player. But it's worth just giving yourself 1 or 2 extra balls to get used to the extra bounce here.
Well, Trent Boult's not going to be the only left armer today in that Mumbai squad. There is a new youngster who's going to be joining him, and that's Kumar. We will see what he brings to the table because we've just seen so many new people come in and throw so much into this IPL. So hopefully with your little Vignesh, we see...
Left arm heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, left arm medium from Punjab. He's only played 3 games this year. So let's
He'll be fresh.
Yeah, he'll be fresh. Best when fresh.
Absolutely. Good luck.
Well, we know that Michael is all fresh after that paddle game, so he's going to be the one who answers the joy factor today first.
Yep.
Let's have a look at that if we can. In cricket, Zaheer Abbas, Donald Bradman, Glenn Turner, Viv Richards are the only non-English players of which exclusive club? How is it related to today?
Non-English.
Exclusive club today.
It's not handling the ball, is it?
Michael?
No, I don't think. Has Don Bradman ever been out handling the ball?
I'm just thinking that there are a couple of English people, including myself, that handled the ball. And I'm sure Donald Bradman did it as well.
Oh, really?
Well, then you would have been up in that list.
your name would have been
Your name
up.
wasn't there.
Said non-English, did it? Oh, non-English. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Not handle the ball then. I can't even get his questions.
Okay,
Not
we need-
answering.
What
I
was the
think-
question again?
No, I think we just should get some food in the system to understand the question.
The only non-English player. Okay, maybe it's that then.
Or maybe it is. Maybe it's me and Gooch. Maybe.
Oh, maybe. Maybe he knows that Michael's...
Maybe.
yeah. Maybe. We don't know. But Lisa, we're now...
Oh, this is where it gets interesting. The
KKR are batting, right?
KKR in form.
Trent
They're
Boult
smacking
bowling.
it to all parts.
Trent Boult bowling.
Mumbai have got a few young uns. Oh, it could be 290.
I'm not letting you get
Just throw
inflated.
that out.
I'm not allowing this
I'm going to
pleasant
start. I'm going to start. It's going to be 201.
I'm going to go 195.
I'm going to go 210. Now they're just laughing. They're blatantly laughing because they've given up on my skill set at the guessing game. Maybe today is the day when Mumbai's fortunes turn around. Maybe today is the day when my fortunes turn around. We just.
I think you're going to get close. You'll be within at
I
least.
don't get close. I want to win.
No, you'll be within 50. I think you've got a chance.
All right, better than 70. I was really off. So 70,
You'll get within 50.
50. Yeah.
Within
Yeah,
50.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting closer. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Michael. We will be ordering you lots of food now because you've earned your food with 4 hours of paddle. So we'll go do that. We will be back, of course, at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox. Thank you so much for watching. Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲನೆ
Hyderabad Express, Varanasi Station, Netaji Bhavan.